Today, we become legends.
Hey, my name's Inter, and welcome back to the channel for some 11.10 bonus update notes for Smite 1. These are going to be live today as the video goes out, basically. And I just thought I'd keep you posted on the happenings in Smite 1. I know a lot of people are still playing Smite 1, you know, waiting for Smite 2 to go free to play or to get more content or whatever, so I thought I'd still cover the updates for Smite 1. It's a relatively small patch, but just a little bit of bonus balance to help with meta problems and that kind of stuff. So, first up, Mercury is getting some buffs. Major Luck, they have increased the damage scaling by 10%, and Sonic Boom, they have decreased the cooldown. It's now going to be 90 down to 70 seconds, which is pretty crazy for this kind of ultimate. I mean, obviously you don't build a lot of CDR on Mercury, so it's mostly going to be 70 seconds all the time, but that's definitely going to be a big impact in the late game. Mercury going to be able to get a lot more of these off in team fights and for initiations and stuff like that. King Arthur getting some buffs, which is what we love to see. The Battle Stomp, they have decreased the cooldown by 2. Uppercut gets the same treatment, and Blade Storm, the final hit, has got increased damage scaling from 40 to 50%. These two changes are definitely pretty impactful as an Arthur main, I can tell you that much. These abilities, they go a little bit underrated, honestly, especially Uppercut for like a quick cancel. And you're just going to have more abilities up more often, more spam, more like energy generation, all that kind of stuff. So some pretty impactful King Arthur buffs there. Baba Yaga on the 1, they have increased the protection buff duration from 1 second to 2 seconds, the movement speed as well, and the slow as well. So all of these extra effects that you can get on Wild Witchcraft, they have just increased their duration from 1 second to 2 seconds. Ishtar Spread Shot, they have increased the side damage from 5 up to 8%. It's now going to be 6 up to 9% of your basic attack damage. So not really going to affect, you know, pinging people randomly, but if you're shotgunning this on like objectives and all like melee range against people, you're going to be getting a little bit of a damage increase there. And Jolt, they have made it scale down in cooldown, so instead of 15 flat, it's going to be 15 down to 13 seconds at max rank. So that's going to be really great for Ishtar's safety, and I guess her engage a little bit if you want to use this aggressively for the damage, because this thing does kind of chunk. Does a lot of your basic attack damage on that shot. And finally for buffs, RTO, they have increased the bear self buff from 15 to 35 protections. It's now going to be 25 to 45, so just 10 more protections at all ranks on the Ferocious Raw. Going to make RTO a little bit more tanky, a little bit more viable. And then live tap, they have increased the damage per hit towards the late game mostly. It's going to be the same at rank 1, but you're going to be getting 20 more damage per tick in the late game, which is pretty impactful because this thing hits, is it 4 or 5 times? So like 80 to 100 damage extra. So some nice little RTO buffs there. Maybe she'll come back into the meta a little bit. I know she was quite popular a little while ago, but seems to have fallen off. Moving into some nerfs though. First up, Cthulhu, been an absolute terror basically in Smite 1 for a long time. They've kind of, you know, stopped with a lot of the major updates for Smite 1, focusing on Smite 2, and Cthulhu's kind of been left in a state where he's just very dominant. We've seen a lot of nerfs to him and specifically to Curse Weaver as well, which is an item that he abuses a lot, but it's still not even enough. So Sanity Break, they have increased the cooldown. Instead of 10 seconds flat, it's now 14 down to 10, which is very impactful. 4 seconds extra, you know, it's almost a 50% increase as a cooldown of this ability at rank 1. And that's specifically really impactful because you level to 2 first in lane, so it's going to be a little while until you actually start putting points into this ability and actually getting that cooldown refund. Maybe you change the way you play with Cthulhu now, maybe you rank this first. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, if you are still going to continue ranking the 2s first, it's going to be a little while until you get this cooldown refund. And in the late game, it's not going to matter. It's going to be the exact same. But for the laning phase, 14 versus 10 seconds is a pretty massive change. And then Descend into Madness, the ultimate, they have decreased the initial damage from 150 to 330. It's now 145 to 305. So they've just taken a little bit of damage off. 5 at rank 1 up to 25 at rank 5. This is not really going to impact things all too much, but this change is going to be pretty big in terms of bringing down Cthulhu's laning phase especially. It's not going to impact his incredible late game team fight, but he's always going to have that with the way his ult works and stuff. It's just going to make his laning phase a little bit worse and less safe, which I think is good because right now Cthulhu just kind of does everything. And so if you can make his laning phase a little bit weaker, he does at least have a weakness. You know, he can be shut down in the laning phase before he gets to that big team fight prowess. Next up, Kumbhakana, been another Guardian terror in Smite 1 for a while since they gave him like that absolutely omega buff like round of changes a little while back. So Mighty Yawn, they have decreased the slow from 20 up to 40. It's now 20 up to 30 from when you awaken early, and the attack speed debuff as well. It was 30 up to 50. It's now 20 up to 30. So some pretty substantial nerfs on if you're awakened early from Mighty Yawn. Of course, they added damage to this a little while back, so it's become a very powerful ability, so they're decreasing some of the utility that it has. And Epic Uppercut, they have increased the cooldown from 70 seconds flat, which I did not even realize it was this low. 70 seconds flat is something that very few ultimates have that aren't like, you know, multiple charge ultimates or like King Arthur style stuff. Like any standard ultimates, usually they will like be in this format where they 90 scale down to 70. 70 seconds flat is kind of insane for this ability. It's got a lot of setup potential. It does a lot of damage. And so yeah, that's now going to be 90 down to 70, which is a much more like common format of ability cooldowns where like they want to go below 90, but they don't start below 90, which I think makes sense. So hopefully Kumbo will be a little bit less terrorizing in the queues after these changes. Xbalanque, poison darts, they have decreased the damage per dart from 30 to 90. It's now 25 to 65. Xbalanque, I know, has been very popular since they made the change where, is it enemies can get hit by multiple darts, or like the multiple darts do more damage or something like that. They made some kind of change a little while ago. I've not been honestly following Smite 1 all too much. But yeah, they did make a change to this ability where it was essentially dealing way more damage if you could point blank them with it. So they're just reducing the damage of each dart to bring them a bit back in line. And more Anubis nerfs. Anubis getting nerfs in Smite 2. Anubis also getting nerfs in Smite 1. He's been pretty popular ever since like the Pro League got taken away and Smite 1 became a little bit more casual. And so decreased the protection stolen on his passive per stack from 7 to 5. And they have increased the cooldown of Mummify from 16 down to 12. It's now 17 down to 13. So just 1 second extra all ranks on his stun. And finally, we have Cleaner. Lurching Claw, they have increased the cooldown by 1 second to all ranks. So just a little bit less mobility, a little bit less damage. This ability does hit very hard. And Tearing the Veil, they have decreased the opening damage 150 up to 450. It's now 145 up to 425. So 5 to 25 damage off all ranks. And the tick damage, they have also decreased by 5 all ranks. So nothing major for Cleaner, just bringing her down a little bit. But yeah, there you go. That is the bonus balance for patch 11.10 in Smite 1. I believe we were kind of on a normal schedule due for a regular update for Smite 1, but I think they are slowing down the updates. I think they're now every 6 weeks in Smite 1, I think is what they said, instead of every 4 weeks, because obviously they pulled a lot of devs off of Smite 1 to work on Smite 2 with the push to 50 gods and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think we can expect a major patch or like a normal patch for Smite 1 in about 2 weeks time. But yeah, just some bonus update notes here for you to tide you over in terms of fixing some meta problems, giving some nice buffs to underperformers, all that good stuff. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy me keeping you posted on the Smite 1 news. I know a lot of people are still grinding out Smite 1, so I thought I would keep you guys posted. But yeah, I will catch you guys for another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.